Welcome everyone to day 3 of our online 1-month crash course on NET Paper 1. This is day 3 of teaching aptitude. Today we'll be discussing, we'll start our discussion with factors affecting teaching. It's day 3. So which are the factors that affect teaching? Not teachers, it affects teaching. A lot of questions are asked. The theory is very small, but a lot of questions are asked based on your experience of teaching. So factors affecting teachings are teacher, learner, support material, teacher-student relationship, instructional facilities, teacher administration relationship, learning environment or classroom environment, and institutional and administrative policies. Let's see which aspects from these affect it. As a teacher, the qualification of the teacher and the subject knowledge is important. How much the teacher is aware of learner needs, the experience of teacher, like years of experience of teaching and teaching skills, the personality and behavior of teacher, approachability and friendliness, how easy it is for the students to approach the teacher. Teaching methods used, is it just monotonous teaching, or do they give examples? Do they use different kinds of aids, projectors, PPTs, field trips, or is it just monotonous where the students are sleeping and the teacher is going on and on? Sometimes even with PPT that can happen. Mental health and emotional adjustment. So the emotional state of the teacher. If you have had an issue at home, your energy levels in the classroom are not going to be optimal. Discipline and classroom management. So for those teachers, like students should listen to the teacher, should maintain discipline in the class so that the teacher is able to teach, right? And economic and social background also affects, because the way you portray yourself, the way your beliefs and values are formed is a lot based on your economic and social background. Also, it impacts the teaching aids that you use. For learner, we talked a lot about learning and learners yesterday. So physical and mental health, cognitive abilities and potential, aspiration and motivation, personal goals and willpower, and the readiness to learn. So whatever is the physical and mental health of the learner, the level of understanding, the cognitive is brain ability, the motivation that they have to learn. If they have a dream, if they have a goal, they will work hard for it. Personal goals and willpower is again important. You want to learn for 10 hours, but your willpower gets over at 4 hours. So you can't continue for 10 hours, right? It's not just for children, it's for adults also, for all learners. And the readiness to learn. Support material or learning resources, audio-visual aids, online tutorials, ebooks, digital platforms. You must be preparing on your own at your homes. Along with that, you are also attending the course. I'm also sharing some PDFs with you, which you will refer. So these are all learning resources. Printed material, models, charts. Supporting materials increase learner engagement. So the level up to which they increase learner engagement, that also affects, and it also helps in achieving better learning outcomes. Relationship of teacher and student. So the characteristics of teacher, the characteristics of students, and the teaching aids. But apart from that, the bond or the rapport between the teacher and student is also important. If the student doesn't like the teacher, they will not pay much attention to what they are saying. Or on the other hand, if the teacher is favorite for the students, or is empathetic, or has a good relationship with students, they will listen to the teacher and learn and understand things and even grasp and retain it better. So in this relationship, what's important is trust, emotional safety, and mutual respect. How the teacher promote, like this teacher-student relationship also impacts student engagement and positive behavior, helping students, those who are facing difficulties in understanding or learning something, and creating a structured and inclusive environment where students from different caste, creed, religion, and sometimes even multinational students, multi-state students, students from English medium, vernacular medium, all of this, students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, all of this are given inclusive treatment. Okay, so that is student-teacher relationship. Instructional facilities. Classrooms, labs, audiovisual rooms, libraries, seminar halls. How much is accessible to the student? If they want to learn more, do they have access to that knowledge, that resource? Not everything is available on Google, okay? There are some resources for which you only find the abstract. You need to go to the journal if you want to read that entire research paper. So does your college provide those journals, research journals? That also plays an important role, especially for masters and PhD students. Need for availability, adequacy, and accessibility. So what instructional facilities are available? For computer engineer students, if all of them do not have access to a computer, if they are sharing computers, then the level of learning that happens when you have individual computers and when you don't have individual computers would be different. Accessibility, again, to technology, to resources. This directly impacts the quality of learning experience, and instructional facilities support both theory and practical learning. If you want to have practical labs or if you want to do field trips, does your college have the resources and the connections to do that? If you want to call guest lectures or people from industry to give lectures to students, does your college have access to that? Teacher administration relationship. Now, how good is the relationship of the teacher with the admin part of the college or the university or the school? If there's cordial relationship, it's good for students. But if there's poor rapport, then the teacher's morale would be down. They will not be putting in more efforts to teach. Admin support and trust, again, empower effective teaching. The collaboration ensures smooth functioning. Okay. Okay. Next is
Hello,
learn.
ma'am. What topic is going on?
Anyone who has a question, please write it in chat. Anyone who has a question, please write it in chat box. Okay. Next is teacher administration relationship. We are talking about factors that affect teaching. After that, next is learning and classroom environment. What we discussed in detail yesterday, that it includes your physical space, culture, tone, interaction style. So yesterday we talked about 4 aspects: physical, then emotional, motivational, social. Okay. So a positive climate fosters motivation and participation. It can be traditional, it can be flexible, like the traditional classroom where there's teacher on the podium and everyone else is sitting and taking notes, or it's a virtual classroom like we have here right now. Teacher's behavior sets the emotional tone of the class. Institution and administrative policies. Last but very important, again, whatever is the policy of the administration is going to affect how much the infrastructure is developed in your department, how many resources are allocated to you, especially when it comes to research, patents, resources are very important. So freedom from who's making the curriculum? Are the teachers who are teaching making the curriculum, or someone is making the curriculum and giving it to teachers and teachers feel that this is not enough? What's the relationship between teacher and admin also affects the way administrative policies are implemented and how much leeway is given to the teachers. So rigid policies may restrict creativity. So what's the level of rigidity of implementation of those policies? Okay, or is it just a framework so that teachers can build upon it. What's the attitude of the administration to it? Flexibility promotes innovation and learner-centric approaches. Okay, so like they say that curriculum is something where you talk about that these are the topics. Syllabus is a bit more rigid and it gives you a list of subjects and resources, and that's your closed box that way. So a lot of previous year questions have been asked from factors of teaching. Just to recap, there are 8 factors affecting teaching: teacher, learner, support material, teacher-student relationship, instructional facilities, teacher-administration relationship, learning classroom environment, and institutional and administrative policies. So which of these is the least important factor in teaching? Punishing the students, maintaining discipline in the class, lecturing in impressive way, drawing sketches and diagrams on the blackboard. Punishing the students is least important, right? Okay. So if we consider that, then these are the important factors. Discipline in the class, factors for effective teaching. If we talk about that, then that would be discipline in the class, full attention on topic of discussion, teaching in an impressive manner so that students would want to learn, relevant blackboard work, good classroom communication, congeniality, that's the teacher smiling and not having a face where you feel like aaj to maar padegi. Accessibility and patience of the teacher, education and knowledge base of the teacher. Okay. Next question. I hope you are able to see and read it. Okay. Which of the following is considered key teaching behavior belonging to the category of effectiveness? Like making ideas clear to learners who may be at different level of understanding, showing enthusiasm and animation through variation in eye contact, voice, and gestures, using student ideas by acknowledging and summarizing, probing through general questions, and shifting discussion to some higher thought level. So gradually from just answering textbook, you take it to evaluation and reflective level. Using meaningful verbal praise to get and keep students actively participating in the learning process. B. Okay. Any takers for A, C, and D? Okay. So the answer is B. Why B? Okay, let's go back here. See, making ideas clear to learners. That is important. Okay. Showing enthusiasm and animation. Right now, we just discussed that. Effectiveness of teaching in an impressive manner is one of the factors important for it. Okay. Using student ideas is more about discussion. Probing through general questions would be a level above. But using meaningful verbal praise is a part of giving rewards, motivating students. So making ideas clear, that is teaching them properly, teaching them impressively, and giving them praise so that they keep participating in the class. Great job. Okay. Acknowledging and summarizing ideas is not effective in learning, but this could be used to build further ideas. This is for the remaining 2 options. Probing general questions or shifting discussion to higher thought level. I'm not on mute, right? Yeah. Probing general questions or shifting discussion to higher thought level defeats planned learning objectives. because that would not be a part of your learning objective, right? You can probably give it as a homework if that's not a part of the session. So teaching must be appropriate for the specific topic as well as the specific class level. Next question. Information overload in a classroom environment. Something that you would start experiencing at the end of 120 minutes today. What will that lead to? High-level participation, semantic precision, effective impression, delayed feedback. Delayed feedback. That's the answer. Because when there's information overload, it takes time to understand or comprehend. And that is why the feedback from the learner is delayed. Okay? And the participation is low and hesitant. There are a lot of questions asked based on factors of teaching and effective teaching, but it's not exactly like a theory that could be taught. This is something that comes with our experience as teachers. Like if you have taught classes for a month or two also, you get a little bit grasp of what's happening in the classroom. Okay, what are the factors that could probably affect the way students behave? And if you are someone who has more years of experience, then I'm sure using your own experiences of classroom, you will be able to answer the questions in this topic. The number of questions in this topic is high because it's not a very specific topic which has 5 theories. It's like overall, all the questions related to teaching can be classified in this group here. Okay. The next topic is MOOCs. If you have, I don't think at this point you should have any question, but in case anyone wants me to repeat something or has any question, you can ask. And then we can move to our next topic, that's MOOCs, which is a long topic. No? Okay. So what is MOOC? Massive open online course. Why is it massive? Because the number of participants could be 100,000, 10,000, 1 lakh. If it's something that's a recorded course, it could be accessed by n number of people, n number of times. Open registration, open content, may or may not be free of charge. Whether it is affordable or not depends on whether it is free of charge or not and what's the level of fees, depending on the course. Like if it's a course for PhD learners, then the fees would be higher. If it's a school level course, then the fees would be lower, or it could also be free. Online. If it's recorded, there won't be real-time interaction. But if it's not recorded, like the class we are having right now, then there would be real-time interaction between teacher and learners. Open content. Okay, so it's not something, it's something that you can access. And the course is self-paced. Like usually it's a course which you can study at your own speed. There are start and end dates. If it has enrollment and if it has fees, there would be start and end dates. You get credits for completing that course. You also, if you go to Coursera, you could get badges, gamification of the course, that the more you learn, the higher badge you get. If you learn for 2 hours, you get a silver badge. If you learn for 5 hours, you get a gold badge. If you learn for 20 hours, you get a diamond badge. So something of that sort. The role of the instructor may be active or passive depending on whether it is online, offline, and what kind of format is there. There could be a learning community, a WhatsApp community like which we have here, where the students are there in a group. Although we don't have a community where students interact with each other, in some courses there are communities or forums where students post questions and answer each other. They help each other out. Formal assessments and feedback could also be there. That is MOOCs. So MOOCs are massive open online courses. It's called blended learning. Okay. It emerged as a significant force in education in the last decade, especially after COVID. It is open to all. There are no entry barriers usually. And the learners could be diverse geographical, academic, and professional backgrounds. Okay, most of the MOOCs do not have degree-based requirements. When did MOOC origin? Now most of the things that we are going to learn about MOOCs is memory-based. This is because it is like that. Rote memorization phase is beginning. Okay, the entire theory about MOOCs is something that you need to remember. There are dates, there are names of softwares, there are full forms, there are names of digital learning initiatives for which you need to remember the function. Okay, so please consider it from that angle. 2008, George Simmons and Stephen Downes, CCK08 was the first MOOC. 2012, Stanford professors Strun and Norvig, they started a MOOC called Intro to AI, 2012. It led to Udacity, followed by Coursera and edX. So these are, if you have opened Udacity, Coursera is very common, edX, there's one more, Udemy. So these are examples of MOOCs. India is the second largest user of MOOCs after US. Initiatives by government and private platforms in India are Swayam, NPTEL, IITs, and MOOCit. We'll discuss them. The aim is to widen access to education, build skills, and promote digital literacy. Digital literacy is awareness of internet and all the related software and hardware. There are two kinds of MOOCs. C MOOCs, they are collaborative and community-based. X MOOCs, they are structured, instructor-led. It has pre-designed content. Excuse me. Sorry, the weather here is monsoon actually. So what's the process of MOOC? 5 steps. First, you choose which platform you want to learn from. Second, you create an account. Third, you choose the learning mode. Like, is it an audit? Is it a certification? Is it a specialization? So, like, there are 3 kinds of courses. Audited course, learning the course for your own benefit. Certified course, like after the course gets completed, you receive a certificate which you can show somewhere. Include it as a part of your CV. And specialization course. It consists of a series of courses. Like there are 4 courses if you want to complete the entire specialization. So these are the 3 kinds of courses. Yeah. So you choose the platform, you create the account and choose which kind of course do you want. Do you want a certificate or not? Do you want to go for the entire series of courses or not? You enroll it and you complete the course. That's the process of MOOCs. LCM is learner-centric MOOC, where the learning is personalized and interactive. Okay, it's not like Coursera, where there's a course, where there's a recording, you watch it, you do the assignment, and it's done. It's more interactive, it's more personalized. Micro-credentials are series of related MOOCs, where there's, like, if there's a specific subject, small niche topics of it are given as MOOCs so that you gain a deeper understanding of a specific subject. So at a level of PhD or higher, or even in masters, if you want to go in depth in some specific subject, then at a very refined level, these courses are there. For example, MicroMasters, it's called MicroMasters in edX, specializations in Coursera, and nano degrees in Udacity. Everything that I'm teaching in MOOCs is mostly something that you need to memorize. Okay, it is like this because it is like this. There's no, not much of logic This is more of history of what has happened and what is there right now.
Madam,
Digital
will we be
initiatives.
able to get the PDF also?
No, we will not be able to get the PDF, but you can take screenshots of this.
Sure, thank you, ma'am.
And you can also watch the recording once it's uploaded tomorrow. So digital initiatives in India are, IGNOU has a national digital repository. Okay. Then Sakshat, it provides e-content. Shishya is a platform by CBSE for 11th and 12th standards. Vidya Vahini is an initiative that integrates IT into curriculum of rural schools. Okay. EarnNet, you need to remember the full form. More than full form, they actually asked what's the purpose of or what's the focus area of this. But sometimes, like the full form of MOOC and SWAYAM has been asked as a question previously, but it's been quite long. Now they ask a lot of application-based questions or matching with these kind of questions. Education and Research Network, EarnNet, it connects various colleges and schools by providing network connectivity. PG Pathshala. So PG is post-graduation. It has PG content repository. It's initiative of Ministry of Education under its National Mission on Education through ICT. Okay. PG Pathshala. Basically, Pathshala is, in most languages of India, it means a school or a place to learn. So PG Pathshala has postgraduate content. E-Adhyayan is e-books. UGC MOOCs are certified online courses by UGC. E-Pathya gives offline learning content. Like if you get enrolled in it, you can access that content offline as well. Okay, just like we download things in our OTT apps. This subject was a bit difficult earlier when we didn't have OTTs and stuff, and not everyone was aware of the digital world. Now, because we are aware of how things operate digitally, all you need to do is just memorize. It's no longer a topic where you need to understand how things would have happened. EduSat is a satellite launched by India. It's there in the space. Its specific purpose is for education. Okay, so it supports a lot of education initiatives digitally. CEC is, there's been a question on CEC. Consortium for Educational Communication. It's an educational TV kind of program or channel. InflibNet, inter-university connectivity, information, that's INF, and library network. Information library network makes it InflibNet. Autonomous inter-university center for connecting university libraries. Okay, so the library of a university has access to journals, research papers, books, PDFs. Now these university libraries are connected with each other at a government level. Okay, that initiative is InflibNet. Information, LLib is library, net is network. So that is all about MOOCs. A quick recap, and then we solve some questions that have been asked. MOOCs, full form, massive open online courses. It has been asked 8-10 years back. Now they don't ask such questions. 2008, CCK08, first MOOC by George Siemens and Stephen Downes, followed by Stanford professors Trun and Norvig MOOC on Intro to AI. In 2012, Udacity, Coursera, edX. If those who have not taken screenshots, missed out a slide, it's your time now. MOOCs in India, second largest user of MOOCs after US, SWAYAM, NPTEL, IIT's MOOCit. We'll talk about them in coming few minutes. To widen access to education, build skills, and promote digital literacy. Two kinds of MOOCs, collaborative and community-based are CMOOCs, and structured instructor-led MOOCs with pre-designed content are called XMOOCs. What do you do in a MOOC? You choose the platform, you create an account, you log in, you choose learning mode. What kind of course do you want? You enroll and complete the course. Three kinds of courses: audited course, something that you just learn to increase your knowledge; certified course, where you get a certificate that you have attended or completed this course; and specialization course is a series of courses combined together to say that you have gotten a specialization. Like if you study in first sem, there are 5 subjects, right? So that makes it a specialization that way. LCMs, learner-centric MOOCs, micro-credentials, micro-masters by edX, specializations by Coursera, nano degrees by Udacity. And just take few minutes to look at these names again. Can we do courses from ePathshala, or it's only ebooks? No, ePathshala is not just ebooks. E-Adhyayan is ebooks. This slide or one slide still behind Nilimachi? This one. Let's solve some questions based on MOOCs. In MOOCs, what I've realized is the topic is still not completely over. Okay, there's a lot more to do, but just yesterday, because I felt that there was a lot of theory content altogether, I decided to break it today. So the e-content generation for undergraduate courses, not postgraduate, undergraduate courses has been assigned by Ministry of Human Resource Development to CEC, right? That's the answer. What are the challenges of MOOCs in India? So, digital divide, that is infrastructure and internet is not available everywhere. MOOCs require a lot of funding and investment. So, in India, our currency is still in rupees. So, the funding and investment is huge when it comes to developing a MOOC. Cultural and language barriers, every state speaks a different language. Okay. So if we need to connect all learners, even from vernacular, semi-rural, rural areas, then cultural and language barriers come up. Low engagement and completion rates. If the student does not have access to internet or electricity, again, they won't be completing it. Also, MOOC are self-paced courses. So when it comes to self-learning, see, if I tell you that just go, I'll record the sessions and just go and watch them, you will not watch them because you have access to recordings. But if it's a live session, you will be present here and quite a lot of you are present even before I log in. So that's the difference. That is why the engagement and completion rate is higher when it's a live class or when it's an actual in-person class as compared to MOOC. Quality control. Now, it's quite possible that all the teachers who are teaching may not be of great quality. And skill of the faculty, that might be a limitation in some cases. More questions to be solved. Which of the following is an online storehouse of all academic awards like certificates, diplomas, degrees, and mark sheets? Only 3 people answering. What are the others doing? You're listening? ये कथा चल रही है क्या? National Academic Depository. Yes. National Academic Depository is the place where you can store all your academic certificates and mark sheets. Now, these are questions in the form of assertion and reason. Assertion is a statement that is given, followed by a reason for the statement. If assertion is a fact, reason is the cause of that fact. And then usually 4 options are given that both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of A. Second option usually is both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of A. A is false, R is true. Okay, so a lot of statements, theories, concepts are given in this form, and then you have to look for whether they are connected, whether the assertion and reason are connected, if which one is true, which one is false, if both of them are true, what's the relationship between them. Okay. So here the question is, through online teaching, a large number of students can be taught by very competent faculty. The reason is online teaching helps students in developing critical thinking more than offline teaching can. So we have different answers coming up. The answer is assertion is true, because in an online format, the number of students that can join is huge. Like, see, if it was a classroom, I wouldn't have been able to, accommodate 70 students in a place and all of them are looking at the screen this way. It's good if you have joined from laptop, then even there's more clarity. But does online teaching help students in developing critical thinking more than offline teaching? No. So the answer has to be A is true, but R is false. Okay. MOOC platforms. Key MOOC institutions in India are NPTEL. The full form is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. MOOCit, that is a lightweight MOOC system from IIT Kanpur. So remember it as Kanpur IIT, that's MOOCit. IIT Bombay X, made by IIT Bombay. And Swayam is Government of India's national MOOC platform. And more than the question on all the MOOC and digital initiatives, the number of that questions is equivalent to the questions asked only on Swayam. Okay, Swayam is very important. The technical platforms used for this are Course Builder by Google, Drupal is used for MOOCit, OpenEdX for IIT Bombay X, and Swayam The right technical platform is Swayam. Let's take a look at how it is. All of this information needs to be memorized, and better than that, the best way to retain that is I'll be showing the slide where there are links of all these platforms. Go and open them, create an account on them, look at it, feel it, look at its interface. You will be able to remember the features more better. Okay, please show the previous slide. Please be attentive. We'll be talking about all these platforms. So NPTEL, that is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning is the full form of NPTEL. Launched in 2003 by IITs plus IISc Bengaluru. Engineering, management, humanities, that's arts, all kind of streams are there. The platform they use is Google Course Builder. Free courses and nominal cost for certificates, something like Coursera has. There are video lectures and PPTs. It's the largest repository of technical videos, and it's multilingual content. Now, the platform Google Course Builder is an open source platform used by NPTEL. It's built on Google App Engine, which is written using the programming language called Python. It allows anyone to create and host online courses on Course Builder. The limitation is it does not have integrated social networking features. So the students cannot discuss with each other things like forum. They have to create a forum separately somewhere else. The next is MOOCit by IIT Kanpur. Launched in 2014 by IIT Kanpur, designed for low bandwidth and rural learners. The internet speed that is required is low. So that's why it can be used for learners in rural area. There are 4 kinds of solutions, like you can say 4 types: standard, enterprise, replicated, and personal. That is Mobi or MOOCit. So for mobile, Mobi MOOCit. Just go to these platforms and see how they look. Remembering things would become easier. It is CMOOC. It's a collaborative community MOOC format. There's phone call access for rural areas, strong analytics, and flexible delivery because it is designed for rural areas. Drupal is the platform on which MOOCit is based. Okay, it's the software on which MOOCit is created. It's open source content management system. The code is written using PHP and JavaScript. Whereas for Google Builder, it was in Google App Engine. Course Builder, it was in Python. Okay. I don't think these are the questions that should be asked, but if it's asked, then it's 1 mark straight in your bank. I think 2 marks. Yeah, 2 marks. Hosted on Apache web server. I don't know if it is called Apache or Apache, but I'm sure it's not English. Widely used for various types of websites, and the function is backend engine of MOOCit platform. The third one is IIT Bombay X. Launched in 2014 by IIT Bombay, based on Open edX. It is funded by NMEICT and Ministry of Education. The model is blended learning, and the target is college learners across India. Just give me a moment. I don't know why did I miss it. So NMEICT is National Mission of Education through Information and Communication Technology. National Mission on Education through Information on and Communication Technology. That is NMEICT. ICT is Information and Communication Technology. The model is blended learning MOOC model and target is college learners. Open edX is the platform used by IIT BX. Okay, developed by Harvard and MIT in 2013. Open source platform for hosting MOOCs based on Python and Django web framework. It's suitable for both large MOOCs and smaller training modules. The key components are LMS, that is learner-based, something that we learned here. Yeah. No, LMS is different. CMS is for course creation. LMS is what the learners see, the learner side of the framework. And CMS is the teacher side of the framework. Insights are whatever is there for learner analytics, the scores, the marks, or the completion rate that the teachers can see. LMS is learning management software. Okay, so this is the short screen that you can take a screenshot of. NPTEL, MOOCit, IITBX, and Swayam. These are the website links. So please go and explore them. Okay, we'll talk about Swayam now. Yeah, LMS is learning management system. Okay. Now please pay attention. Swayam, the most important MOOC, and based on which a lot of questions are asked. So a lot of application-based kind of questions are asked from Swayam. So please, if you don't explore the other three, that you should at least explore Swayam. Okay. So even if they ask you application-based question, you are able to answer it because you have opened Swayam, you have seen it. You can see the interface, you know what's happening there. Okay. Just like if I ask you to differentiate between Amazon Prime and Netflix, you would be able to see the interface in front of your eyes because you know what are the different interfaces of both the apps. It's just like that. You explore the website, you explore that, you will be able to remember things more easily. The vision and scale of Swayam. Okay, sorry. Swayam, the full form is, this question has been asked once. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds. Study webs of active learning, web because it is on internet. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds. Launched by Government of India. The objective is to democratize. Democratize means accessibility to all through access, equity, and quality. Target audience, 9th standard to PG students. The content is there on Swayam. Free online courses anytime, anywhere. The vision and scale of Swayam is that it is developed by Ministry of Education, AICTE, and Microsoft. The capacity is 2,000 plus courses, 80,000 plus hours of learning, and it covers school from 9th standard, UG, PG, professional, and law courses. The key features are that it's multimedia rich, high quality learning for free of cost, one-stop platform from school to university. There is, if you give exams, you also get certification, and it's a hybrid model. The purpose is to supplement classroom learning. So you learn something in the class and you want to learn more. You don't get recordings in classrooms like real-time, real offline classrooms. So for that, this helps you if you want to explore more. The 4 quadrants of Swayam, like a question has been asked that which of this is not there on Swayam. And there were 5 things. These were the 4, and there was 1 or 2 things were given which are not there on Swayam. So this is an important point to remember. Video lectures, maximum 30 minutes each. E-content, that is readings, PDFs, resources. Self-assessment, quizzes and assignments, and discussion forum, where students can interact with each other and help each other clear doubts. Video lectures, e-content, self-assessment, discussion forum. Fee-based certification is available on course completion. Okay. So if you want a certificate, you pay fees. If you want knowledge, it is free. The assessment is done through proctored exams. Okay. Someone is proctoring it, someone is overlooking it, and through those exams, assessment is done. UGC regulation 2016 says that these credits can be transferred to university records. So it enhances academic flexibility and recognition. Nine parties are involved in working on Swayam. Okay. AICTE takes care of self-paced and international courses. NPTEL takes care of engineering. UGC for non-technical PG education. CEC for UG, that is 9 to 12 standard. NCRT, again, CEC UG is bachelor's degree. NCRT is school, 9 to 12 standard. NIOS, open schooling. IGNU, distance learning or children or aspirants who are not enrolled in school. IIMB for management courses, and NITTTR for teacher training resources. Okay, all these 9 coordinators are involved in working of Swayam. So a quick recap of Swayam. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds, launched by Government of India. The target audience is learners from 9th to PG. Free online courses, but if you want certificate, you have to pay fees and you have to give proctored exams. 2,000 plus courses, 80,000 plus hours of learning. 4 quadrants: video lectures, e-content, that is readings, PDFs, quizzes and assignments for self-assessment, and discussion forum. According to UGC regulation of 2016, allows credit transfer to university records. So if they ask that which digital platform allows credit transfer to university records, the answer is Swayam. 9 coordinators: AICTE, NPTEL, UGC, CEC, NCRT, NIOS, IGNU, IIMB, and NITTR. Swayam Prabha is a group of 34 DTH channels, TV channels, but not the online ones. This is what comes with your dish TV. Direct to home channels. Telecast high quality educational programs 24/7. It uses GSAT 15 satellite, managed by the InFlip Net Center Information and Library Network. It manages Swayam Prabha. Channels are uplinked from Bisag, Gandhinagar. Content providers are NPTEL, IITs, UGC, CEC, IGNU, NCRT, and NIOS. Okay. So if you see, there are a lot of Doordarshan education channels. So that set of 34 channels is called Swayam Prabha. The goal is lifelong learning for all Indian citizens, content for learners in India and abroad, helps bridge the digital and geographical divide. Now where internet can't reach, TV is there. So at least on TV, you can learn. Ensures inclusive education delivery without internet dependency. Fresh content given daily for minimum 4 hours a day, and each 4-hour block is repeated 5 times. Flexible access. Learners can choose convenient time. If you have not, just Google search the schedule of Swayam Prabha, and you will be amazed to know the range of courses that it covers in different channels. Okay. From dance to physics to chemistry to a lot of stuff is covered. Even humanities, commerce, everything is covered in different channels. Designed to reach remote areas without internet access. Okay. So whenever you get time tomorrow, instead of scrolling your social media networks and OTTs, please look for this 4 MOOCs, and also check out the Internet for Information on Swayamprabha. And if you have DTH at your home, just go through those channels. Just take a feel of how things are broadcasted there. Okay. So instead of rote memorization, things will become easier to remember. The coverage areas of Swayamprabha are higher education, that is UG, PG content, arts, science, commerce, engineering, law, medicine, etc. It has a lot more. Certification ready courses linked with Swayam MOOCs. And for school education, again, 9 to 12. So Swayam is online, Swayamprabha is on television. And if you want certification, then those same courses are there on Swayam. You pay fees and you can get certification. Okay. For 9 to 12, there's teacher training, instructional content. It supports board exam and also competitive exam prep for like JEE, NEET is also there on Swayamprabha. So a few questions from Swayam and Swayamprabha. Okay. Now it's your turn. If you want me to repeat any slide, you can tell. Otherwise, we'll discuss the questions. Which of the following instructional designs is a part of Swayam launched by Government of India? E-tutorial, e-content, assessment, discussion forum, classroom teaching. This question is based on 4 quadrants of Swayam. Video lectures, e-content, self-assessment, and discussion forum.
That is C.
Next. In the following list, which belongs to the category of learner-centered approaches? Swayam, computer-aided instruction, MOOCs, quizzes, and bus sessions. A. B. Okay, so see, bus sessions are when it's something like what we have breakout rooms in online courses. Okay, so where a group of larger people is divided into small groups and they do activities, that is called bus sessions. So the answer has to be Swayam and MOOCs. Yep. Answer is A. Computer-aided instruction, quizzes, and bus sessions need to be conducted, delivered, or instructed by another person. Whereas Swayam and MOOCs are those platforms where the learner can go on their own pace. There is no involvement of any instructor. Match A with B. List 1 to list 2. Digital initiatives and purpose. See, we have talked about Swayam. We have not talked about the other 3. So there could be other digital initiatives which do not come into the main list. When you get such questions, you need to think about things that you know. If you know how Swayam is used, one option is out. Also, if you connect that option, you will be able to realize that there would be only one or two options where the answer that you know is there. So then you have to check only those two options to see if everything else matches. Okay, that's the trick for solving MCQs, where you know one thing but you don't know everything. At least you can shortlist or shorten it to two options and then choose one based on your gut feeling. The answer is D. Okay. So Swayam is a personalized and adaptive learning is for that. Spoken tutorials. It promotes IT literacy through open source software. E-Granthalay. The word Granthalay means library. So it's an integrated library management software. Yantra is machine. So E-Yantra is a robotics competition. So see, the spoken tutorial project is free libre and open source software. It teaches like that. In the spoken tutorial, you get to learn all these softwares. E-Granthalay is a digital platform which has integrated library management software, digital library module, and library portal. E-Yantra is by IIT Bombay, where it asks all the youngsters of India to create robotic applications. And they do have those it's a hackathon kind of thing, where those applications are used, where the questions or topics are given related to agriculture, manufacturing, defense, city maintenance, services. So that is by IIT Bombay, E-Yantra. Okay. Next, assertion and reason question. Two statements are given. MOOCs on the Swayam platform can be used for earning up to 40% credits per semester by the students. You need to decide whether it's true or false. If it's true, then whether R is true or false, and what is the connection of A and R? Are they related or not? Reason, all MOOCs on the Swayam portal are credit-based MOOCs. So both of them are true, and R is the correct explanation of it. Because Swayam has assessments, you can get credits which can be included in your university credits as per UGC NET 2016 directive. So the answer is A. Okay. It's true. You can earn up to 40% credits per semester by doing MOOCs on Swayam. That is true. Next. Swayam tries to take the best teaching learning resources to all students through seminars, classroom teaching, video lectures, and conferences. Easy to answer because we discussed that, right? Okay. The next topic is instructional facilities. Please read the slide. Can you please repeat the coverage area slide? Coverage area of Swayam Prabha. Yes. Okay. Instructional facilities. What are instructional facilities? Now, when teachers are teaching something that helps them out, those tools are called instructional facilities, also called TLM or teaching learning materials. Okay. The advantages of this are they motivate learners because they use multiple stimuli. So if like ideally in this, not ideally we use PPTs because that's the format now. But let's say if there was no PPT, I had notes and I was giving a speech. Then if you miss out on some words, you wouldn't be able to, I would have to probably repeat the entire things, or the comprehension that you have because you have a slide and content written in front of you, that is different than me just speaking out. So this is also a teaching learning material. Enhances retention because it engages multiple senses along with ears. Your eyes are also involved. If you are taking notes, your fingers are and your brain and a lot of other parts of your brain are involved. Promotes concept formation, like concretize abstract ideas. We're speaking things in the air versus putting pictures in front of you would be different. Okay. Encourages scientific temper, makes learning fun and interactive, and supports holistic learning. So cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains, brain, emotions, and fingers, all of this are involved. This is just a PPT, so we are not using psychomotor domain, but imagine in a classroom where activities are happening, where, especially for smaller children, there are a lot of, like when they talk about fish, though they have those cutouts of fish to play in small groups. And then, they have boats on water to know that B for boat, things like that. Please mute yourself, everyone. So what are the types of instructional facilities? The major classification is audio, that is language labs, radios, and sound systems. Please remember, language labs, radio, and sound systems. Visual facilities are charts, model, flashcards, maps. Okay, things that can be seen as an image, but they are static. Whereas audiovisual facilities are documentaries, television, films. AV instructional facilities, this audio-visual instructional facilities, where you can see and listen both, where the screen is moving, where the video is moving. It is used to clarify complex concepts, improve attention, interest, and retention, facilitate faster comprehension, save time, and supplement verbal instruction, make learning accessible and engaging. You don't need to memorize this, you need to understand this. That if we have audio video going on, then concepts would be understood more faster because you can also read it simultaneously while you are listening to it, or probably you can see an image. If I'm explaining the digestive system and saying that there's the food pipe here and there's the stomach and there's the liver, or whereas I show it on a chart that here you have the stomach, here you have the small intestine, here there's liver, that would be easier to understand. So saves time and makes learning engaging. What are the limitations? If it is poorly designed, then the concepts would be distorted. Sometimes content is oversimplified. Complex content needs to be simplified so that you can put it in an image that is easily understood. Spectacularism, passive learning. Chal raha hai kuch bhi. The students are not active. Okay, I've seen the image, I have understood it, done. That could happen if the learner has a different way of learning than what instructional facility is involved. Importance of appropriate media mix is essential, and there are also questions based on that asked that in this scenario, using this instructional facility would be appropriate or not, or which instructional facilities should be used for teaching this kind of content or for this age of learners, or in this setup? Those kind of questions are asked. Educational technology approaches, hardware, TV projectors, tape recorders, like they focus on mass access and cost efficiency, whereas software is flashcards, books, games, apps. They depend on principles of teaching, evaluation, and feedback, and they focus on behavioral and skill development. Now what I'm going to show you is a list of different instructional facilities. Take a screenshot and memorize them. There's no other way to go about it. So for projected instructional facilities, something that you can project using a projector, films, slides, overhead projector, e-pediascope, video projectors, and film strips. Please take a screenshot. Then we go to the non-projected ones. Non-projected ones are the static ones and the audio ones. So if we think of graphics, charts, flashcards, posters, pictures and photographs, graphs, map, diagrams, or display boards of different kinds, blackboard, whiteboard, the bulletin board, which is usually there in the corridor of the school. Flannel is like those in conferences, if you see, you have a board where there are flips, you can flip chart. Something similar is a flannel board. It's a different kind of material. Magnetic board has a magnet, and you can attach things with magnets to it. It has special things to be put on that. Pegboard on which you can put on pegs. 3D models, mock-ups, objects and specimens, and puppets. Audio, radio, recordings, digital audio player, television. If the television has an audio running on it and there's nothing moving there. Telephone and mobile, okay? They fall into audio category, but videos on mobile are not audio. Field trips. Now these are actually activity-based things. Field trips, experimentation, dramatics, teaching machines, and programmed instructions. These are the 5 kinds of non-projected instructional facilities. These are the projected ones. These are the non-projected ones. Okay. Apart from this, there are different kinds of charts. A process chart shows steps in a process. Organizational chart displays hierarchy and communication flow in organizations. Time chart shows time, like you have that timeline going on, that 2000, 2005, 2010, 2015. That's time chart. Tabular chart, where things are presented in the form of a table. Tree chart, like a family tree. You have a root, then a stem, and then you have branches going out, and every branch is a content. Stream chart, where multiple sources are merging into one. So there are multiple lines going and they are merging, slowly merging that way. Tree is the reverse, like from one, multiple lines are coming out. Stream is the reverse, multiple lines merging into one. And sequence or flip charts, like one after the other, the charts are shown like a calendar. Okay. This has sometimes been asked, like sometimes questions have been asked from here. This is called the Dale's cone of experience. Okay. It says that people generally remember 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, 50% of what they both see and hear, 70% of what they say and write, 90% of what they do and perform. Based on this, different activities or different modes of learning, so will tell you how much the learners will retain. Okay, so reading text, and listening to a lecture, like define, describe, list, explain, those kind of things, you will retain only 20%. If you watch still pictures and if you watch moving pictures, then that's 30% you will remember. View exhibit, you watch demonstration of something, you will retain 50%. So ideally, this session you are going to retain only 30%. So please revise it. Demonstrate, apply, practice. Now, if you are participating in a hands-on workshop or if you are writing notes, that's why we say write notes, okay? If you have time, if you are preparing genuinely for the exam without balancing any other life roles right now, then watch the recording tomorrow and take notes along with it, or read the PDFs that I have shared and take notes. You will remember easily. Participate in hands-on workshop, role play a situation, model or simulate an experience. Okay. Direct purposeful experience. Go through the real experience. That is, analyze, design, create, and evaluate. I'll give you a moment to just go through this entire thing. This is important. There have been questions asked on it.
Ma'am, you have muted.
Thank you. Okay, so which factors influence selection of instruction facilities? So if you are deciding what to use as teaching learning materials, then what things should you consider? Appropriate selection, suitable combination, proper sequencing, like in which sequence the tools should be used. Nature of audience, like literate versus less literate learners, like what's the literacy level of the audience? What is the size of the audience? So if it's a small audience, you can use whiteboard. If it's a large audience, you will need to use internet, radio, something of that sort. What are your teaching objectives? Is it knowledge? Is it attitude? Is it action skills? Whatever is your teaching objective, depending on that, you have to choose your TLM. What does subject matter? If it's simple, radio, article. If it's complex, you need to use audiovisual tools. So like in anatomy, if you are teaching the position of muscles and bones, YouTube videos are there where you have a 3D moving model showing that to students, makes it easier for them to remember, that kind of thing. Availability depends on access to technology. If you are doing something which is live on internet, but there's no internet in your classroom, then that's not going to work. And cost effectiveness. It cannot be so much costly that you cannot afford it, neither your institution can. Or sometimes not the learners. So choose tools that give max impact for the cost. A quick recap. Instructional facilities are also called teaching learning materials. So learning through sensory experience instead of just listening to a lecture. Motivates learners, enhances retention, promotes concept formation, encourages scientific temper, makes learning fun and interactive, supports holistic learning. 3 kinds of instructional facilities: audio, visual, and audiovisual, both. Projected instructional facilities, non-projected ones: graphic, display boards, 3D, audio, and activity. Different kinds of charts. Dale's cone of experience. Factors influencing selection of instructional facilities are appropriate selection, suitable combination, and proper sequence. So what you need to consider is nature of audience, size of audience, your teaching objectives, subject matter, availability of technology, and cost effectiveness. So to solve some previous year questions, there are some best practices of using teaching aids in classroom. Please match them according to the size of class. In terms of number of students, this way. So if you have a small size of 2, 3, what you should use? Medium size, large size, extra large size. Flip chart or whiteboard, PowerPoint slides, oval presentation with display screen, and writing on paper. So for someone who said D, see, in D, if you think A is okay, B is 4. Medium size class of 10 to 15 students writing on paper. If the teacher is writing on paper and there are 15 students surrounding him or her, then they will not all be able to see it properly. So that option needs to be ruled out. Okay, so the correct answer is C. For small size of 2 or 3, you write on paper. For medium size, you can use flip chart or whiteboard. For 20 to 25 students, use PPT. And for more than 30 students, oval presentation with display screen. Okay. Next. Which of this is an example of instructional software? So we have discussed the list of instruction facilities, right? Which of this was there? The answer actually is radio talk. Okay. Instructional software includes pictures, sounds, animations, and other various stimuli. Audio podcast is a series of episodes downloaded by the end user over internet. But in radio talk, it's an instructional software. Gives sound inputs for skill development. Okay. In the list, if you see, podcast was not there. Next question. The following teaching aids can be used by a teacher in the classroom as a live interactive device. We'll probably take it at the end of the session, ma'am. It's gone now. Which of this can be used as a live interactive device? Email, Skype, online chat, teleconferencing, Facebook, and blog. Answers, everyone. So email is static. So is Facebook and blog. If you put a post on Facebook or if you put a blog, it's not live interactive. Skype, online chat, and teleconferencing are live. So your answer is B. Okay. Which of the following statements about teaching aids are correct? They help in retaining concepts for longer duration. They help students learn better and they make teaching learning process interesting. They enhance rote learning. Rote learning means memorization. Ratta marna. Yeah. They do not promote rote learning. They promote understanding concepts more clearly. Okay. So the answer has to be B. So teaching aid is an object used by the teacher to enhance or enliven classroom instruction. Okay. Next, instructional aids are used by teachers to glorify the class, attract the students, clarify the concepts, and ensure discipline. What's the answer? Attract the students. But more than attract, the first and foremost reason is to clarify the concepts. Discipline with instructional aids, you will actually have discussion going on. You show images to kids, they will all dance. Yeah, but the concept will become clear. So clarify the concepts. Okay. And the last topic for teaching aptitude, evaluation, assessment. How do you take exams and score? Okay. Someone wanted to see the first question. This one. The answer is this. Meenakshi ma'am, please take a screenshot and then you can later on,
Question, ma'am, question.
The
Previous
question
slide.
is match A with B. So the question is very simple. It is just match A with B. That A is teaching media aids and B is size of the class in terms of number of students. Match them. That's the question. Okay. What is evaluation? A systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information. Now, what information is this? It determines the extent to which instructional objectives are achieved. So if your objective is that student can do this, student can replicate this, student can understand this, student can write about this. So the level or the extent to which you have achieved your objective, the information about that is evaluation. Collecting information about how much your teaching objective has been achieved. Okay. This is the convoluted goal definition of evaluation, basically exams. What are the functions of evaluation? Feedback, it identifies strengths and weaknesses. Motivation, encourages students to perform better. Better guidance, aids in student development. Remediation, you identify the gaps and correct those gaps and facilitates planning. So if there are no assessments, you do not know how, like whether to take the students further or not, or at this level, these are the things which need to be done. So you evaluate whether they are already learned by the students or not. Curriculum revision, institutional comparison, which school, which college is better. Educational decisions for selection, promotion, placement, who scored well, who did not. Even our appraisals at the year end are evaluations, right? Progress reporting updates parents on student performance. So these are the different kinds of classifications of evaluation, that there are quantitative and qualitative techniques. On phase of instruction, placement, formative, diagnostic, and summative. Formative and diagnostic assessments are favorites of examiners for asking MCQs. So is norm referenced and criterion reference. There are also questions based on that. Again, on the basis of purpose, diagnostic, aptitude, achievement, and proficiency tests. And on the basis of grading, direct and indirect. Okay. We'll just look through what are the definitions of all these tests. Qualitative means there is no like 10 questions, you get 10 marks. If you answer 5 correctly, you get 5 marks. That is called quantitative technique. Written exam, paper pencil test, oral exam. If they can speak well, this much marks. Practical exam. You do the experiment, and then you find out whatever was there. You write down the experiment, you write down your conclusion, you get your marks. Qualitative is observation and interview. Checklist. If you see the assessments of pre-KG students, it's like speaks well in the class, writes well, draws well, that kind of grading is given to those kids. So that is qualitative evaluation. Rating scale, 1 to 5, about traits and performance. So what happens in our appraisal is a qualitative evaluation. Cumulative records, anecdotal notes, diaries, record cards. Okay. Quantitative, written exam, oral exam, practical exam. Now, based on areas of function. First, like before any instruction is given, placement evaluation to know where the person is right now. Then you give instructions. During that, whatever you evaluate is called summative evaluation. That, okay, this person has completed the course. After instructions at the end. Now, during the session, so before is placement and after is summative. Placement is entry point, summative is the end point. During instructions, you do 2 types of evaluation. First is diagnostic evaluation to find out where the problems are and to fill those gaps. And formative evaluation to provide feedback on the teaching learning process and to have mastery in content. Evaluation by nature of reference. Now, criterion and non-referenced, norm-reference, based on this also questions are asked, like what kind of assessment has this quality, and then you have options like diagnostic, formative, criterion reference, norm reference. So you need to know which kind of evaluation has what characteristics. Criterion referenced evaluation means predefined objectives are there, that 100 marks. In that, if you solve all these questions, you will get 100 marks. So you scored 95 in maths. That's criterion referenced evaluation. So mastery of specific skills, did you master the skill or not? That is criterion referenced evaluation. It also it measures whether the teaching objectives have been achieved. So it is also the learning objectives have been achieved. So it is also called objective based or domain referenced evaluation. So basically the exams that we take in school and colleges are objective based or criterion referenced evaluations, okay? Because we give them a certain score. Now after scoring, when we rank those students, that this is first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, that is called norm referenced evaluation, where there is a comparison of learners' performance with the peers in the class, or percentile based ranking. Like in CAT entrance exam, your score is not in marks or percentage, it is in percentile. So the top one gets 99.99 percentile, and the rest of them then slowly get lower percentile ranks. So even if the top person has less 10 marks lost, because he is first rank, he is 99.99 percentile. Okay. Relative position in a group. That's norm referenced evaluation. Clear? Criterion referenced, norm referenced. Next, again important, diagnostic test identifies learning gaps, suggests need for remedial action, and covers specific sub-areas. Whereas aptitude test predicts future performance, assesses potential and natural ability. Aptitude test is like you check if the person has potential or not. If the person has potential, you give them admission in the course. Also for career guidance, like which career should they use, that kind of thing. Okay. Show the first slide of evaluation. I don't know why do you guys ask me to keep repeating the slides? This one. Please take a screenshot. I'll ask at the end. Diagnostic test, aptitude test. So diagnostic is somewhere while studying, you check what the learner does not know, where there are gaps, and you immediately remediate it. Aptitude test is to see the potential of the learner. Achievement is like the final exam. And proficiency is overall skill test. If you know, in some interviews for jobs, there are proficiency tests. I think UGC NET should also fall in a proficiency test, right? That what's your overall skill level? It's not tied to any specific course. It's used for certification or placement. Like UGC NET is for placement. Okay. So these are the initial slides of evaluation. Let's do a quick recap. This is the definition. Functions, feedback, motivation, better guidance, remediation, facilitates planning. Curriculum revision, institutional comparison, educational decisions, and progress reporting. Quantitative and qualitative techniques, placement, formative, diagnostic, summative, norm referenced, criterion referenced, diagnostic, aptitude, achievement, and proficiency test. Grading we will take later on. Qualitative techniques are observation and interview, checklist, rating scale, cumulative records. Basically, where you don't score 95 out of 100 or 50 out of 100, it's a qualitative evaluation. Quantitative, written, oral, and practical, where you give marks out of a certain criteria. Based on instructions, initially, before instruction, you have placement test. After, at the end, you have summative test. During the instructions, during the course, there is a diagnostic evaluation to see how much the learner knows and wherever the gaps are to remediate them. And formative evaluation is to provide feedback on teaching learning process and to have master in the content. Criterion referenced is if the criteria is 100 marks, then how much out of 100? There's no comparison with peers. Whereas in norm referenced, there is comparison, there's ranking, there's percentile. Okay? It's used in competitive exams. Based on purpose, diagnostic identifies learning gaps. Aptitude would predict future performance, whether the person has the potential for something or not. Potential is a word that we use that this person has the potential, but that power is not yet seen. It will probably be seen in future. Achievement test is like a final exam to see how much you have achieved. And proficiency test measures your overall skill. It is not tied to a specific course, but usually if you have passed your bachelor's and you have 2 years of work experience, then you should have this much proficiency. So a test which you give for that is like a proficiency test. So some previous year questions based on this evaluation. Diagnostic evaluation ascertains what? Students' performance at beginning of instruction, causes and remedies of persistent learning problems, degree of achievement and functional objectives, learning progress and failure after instructions. What does it check? B, right? No. Students' performance at the beginning of instructions is called placement test. The answer is B. It determines individual strengths, weaknesses, knowledge, and skills. Okay. Next, the performance of a student is compared to another student in which type of testing? Norm referenced, right? Next. A teacher intends to find out learning difficulties of students. Which of the following tests can be used? Summative is at the end. Formative is to see teaching learning efficiency, okay, to get feedback on the teaching learning process. Performance is again something that is done at the end. So diagnostic will help to find out learning difficulties or gaps. Okay. So the answer here is diagnostic. These two questions were asked in the same year on different days of exams. In which of the following modes of assessment, the potential for increasing intrinsic motivation is optimum? Which test or which evaluation will increase the motivation of students? Okay, so see, norm referenced is ranking. So when compared with peers, only the top few ones would be motivated. The rest of them are not going to feel motivated. Okay. So the answer is formative assessment based. Why? This is, let's say, unit test that happens. Okay. So this much is taught. Was it learned by the students? It's more, these are small assessments that happen. Please mute yourself. Yeah. So see, when they attain short-term learning outcomes and feel enthused to go for more, that is done by formative evaluation. It involves in-process assessment of learners. Okay, helps them trace their weaknesses, but it's not diagnostic. They still get marks for it. Summative assessment is final, end of the class assessment. After that, they can't do anything else. Computer test method does not give any chance to correct mistake, and norm referenced can lower their motivation if they are not scoring well. Okay. Formative assessment, you still have the scope to improve in the next unit test. A college teacher conducts a quiz session with a view to accelerate the tempo of motivational participation. This is which type of evaluation? Motivation. Motivation. Motivation, formative. Finding gaps, diagnostic. Okay. This is the same question as the previous one, just the wordings are different. So we have just 3 small topics to cover in evaluation. There are 2 types of grading. Direct grading, that is qualitative grading. This is A, this is B, this is C. So if you have a project, the qualitative grading is done by the professor. That A, B, C, wow, this is great, wow, this is not. Simple to use, reduces examiner bias, but lacks transparency in criteria. Indirect grading is done 2 ways. Absolute grading, that is fixed percentage, like 75% is distinction, 60 to 74 is first class, that way. Relative grading is performance relative to peers, like percentile kind of grading. Okay, so these are 2 kinds of grading. Direct, that is qualitative, and marks, but in 2 ways. Fixed percentages is called absolute grading, and related to peers, percentile based, ranking based, is called relative grading. There's something called choice based credit system, which was introduced to promote like in colleges, students have the option of choosing their elective courses. Okay, there's a core course and there is an elective course. So that is called choice based credit system. Okay, so in some colleges, the electives are offered just in name. Students usually don't get the option, but there are colleges where they also actually have the option of choosing core, elective, interdisciplinary and skill-based courses. They are aligned with national education policy and global education patterns. It follows semester system in college and credit-based learning. So this is usually at university level. Encourages inter and intradisciplinary combinations and allows mobility between institutions with credit transfers. Enhances student autonomy and flexibility. Okay, so Steve Jobs, he said that in his university, he took a course on calligraphy. He had got nothing to do with his core course, but he was just interested. Because of that, he could, was it Steve Jobs or was it Microsoft? So he could design amazing fonts. I'm sorry, I'm confused between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. But one of them has spoken that because they took a calligraphy course, they could design different kind of fonts, which ultimately helped them, although it was nowhere related to software and computers. So that is the power of choosing electives. What are the different kinds of courses in choice-based credit system? Core course is the compulsory subject, mandatory subject. Elective courses, you have this course pool, choose from it. Discipline-specific electives, like if engineering is there, then you have core courses which could, you have different core courses, like for mechanical engineering, you have different discipline-specific electives. Generic electives are courses which can be done, but they are not from your core field. Project and dissertation is the research-based practical component. And there are something called ability enhancement courses. They are divided into two types: ability enhancement compulsory courses like English, EVS, and skill enhancement courses, which are to develop some specific sort of skill. Okay, if you have worked in a university, you would know that these are usually the different kind of courses that we design in our curriculum, even at the bachelor or the UG level. Okay. The last concept is computer-based testing, called CBT. The exam delivery is done using computers, replacing traditional paper-based test. It promotes innovation in teaching, learning, and assessment. So mostly competitive exams are done using that, like used by IBPS. IBPS is Indian banking exams. And NTA, that is UGC NET, NEET, GPET, all of them used computer-based testing. There are two kinds of CBT: linear test, fixed question paper for everyone, which is usually what happens in our competitive exams. Adaptive test is, if the student answers specific questions well, then in that subject they get more difficult questions. Or if a student answers question faster, then the level of difficulty is increased. If the student is answering slowly, then the level of difficulty is decreased. Okay, that is an adaptive test. But like if they get more difficult questions, then the marks that they get for that question will also be higher. So based on the time taken and based on the number of correct answers they give, the test automatically becomes more difficult or more easy. That is adaptive testing. What are its benefits? Frequent and flexible testing, quick data-rich feedback, wider candidate access, and simplified logistics. But its drawback is that it has very costly setup. You need huge platforms. Okay. You also need a huge number of people who are well versed with technology to conduct this test. And in developing country like India, which of the following is a challenge in computer-based test? This is a question that has been asked. You tell me. That many teachers do not have knowledge of computer. It will destroy the guru-shishya relationship. Indian government cannot afford such a large number of computers. And in remote locations, computer and electricity is not available. Which of this is a challenge? Right, D is your answer. Okay. Now this is just for memorizing that software development life cycle. It follows the waterfall model. The requirement analysis of the test is done. Then a system or software is designed for it. It is implemented and unit testing is done. So like unit by unit it is tested, then it is integrated and the entire system is tested if everything is running well, if all the evaluation is going well, if the entire system is running at together, how much load it can sustain, and finally operation and maintenance. Okay, this is a software development life cycle. Now let's do more previous year questions and end the session today. Which of the following, okay, so this is related to evaluation, but it's not something that we have covered because it's like a small topic. What is true for the test prepared by a teacher? If a test is reliable, it is objective. If a test is valid, it is also reliable. If a test is reliable, it is valid. And if a test is valid and reliable, it is usable. Which of this is true? D. The answer is not D. Now choose another option. The answer is not D. Choose another option. D nahi to C hai. Okay, the answer is B. If a test is valid, it is reliable. It's an abstract concept. Thoda time lagega. Give me 2-3 minutes. And if you do not understand it, just Google it. Okay, the difference between validity and reliability. It's a very, very abstract concept. Okay, so see, there are 4 main characteristics of good test. Validity is the extent to which the test fulfills its purpose. I'll just make the screen bigger. Or the scores. They represent the variable they are intended to represent. Okay, so it's called validity. I somehow relate it to accuracy, but it's not also accuracy. So if a clock is supposed to show the time, then it is showing 8 o'clock and 3 minutes right now. So if my clock is showing 8 and 3 right now, it is valid. Okay, reliability. The consistency of measure over time across items and across different researchers. Now, if it is showing 8:05, but I know that my clock is 2 minutes faster, then it is reliable, but it is not valid. Okay, it is reliable. It is showing 8:05. I know that my clock is 2 minutes faster, but it is not valid because it is not showing what it is supposed to show. Objectivity, like if a few different evaluators at the same level give the test, then they would get the same result, or check the test, they would get the same result. So there is no scope of bias of teachers. That's objectivity and usability. Like time, cost effectiveness, and administration. Is it usable or not? Okay, these are the 4 characteristics of good test. A test can be reliable without being valid. Like a weighing scale will give consistent scores, other conditions being same. But in case the instrument is malfunctioning, the test will still be reliable if consistent scores are obtained. Okay, if it is malfunctioning and everything is 5+, then you will still know that, okay, 5+ for everything. But what it is showing is not valid because the final number that you get is incorrect. But if a test is valid, then it is definitely reliable. Okay. So here your answer is whatever is valid is reliable. Answer is B. Which of the following is not an alternative to traditional assessments? Which of the following is not an alternative to traditional assessments? A. Okay. The answer is because traditional assessment, multiple choice test, true false test, short answers, and essays are considered most widely used traditional assessment tools. Alternative assessments are open-ended questions, performance test, exhibits, demonstrations, hands-on execution, computer simulations, and portfolios. So this is the classification of assessment tools. Okay. So it is not an alternative because it is traditional. Okay. And the last question for the day.
There is no slide.
No, there is a slide. Probably your internet is. Everyone can see the slide, right? Yes? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
The compositional skills and creativity in presentation of students can be most effectively evaluated by what? Objective essay, short answer, or projective type. Compositional skills and creativity in presentation. Projective type test. Essay type. What else? Okay, lot of these. Okay. So see, projective type tests are personality tests. Okay. There are ambiguous scenes, confusing scenes, words or images. Okay. And sometimes they also have to draw answers. In this test, the answers can be very varied and there are no correct or incorrect answers. Okay. So that is not your answer. Objective and short answer type anyways do not give scope for creativity. Essay type is where you can create descriptive answers and composing good, meaningful and grammatically correct sentences. So that can be evaluated. Projective type tests cannot be evaluated because there's no correct answer. And that's the end of today's session. Tomorrow at the same time.